So I completed the installation of the Meso Customs puddle pods. I'll leave a link in the video where you could check out that video if you want to install that. But today we're going to be installing the puddle pod switch that also came from Meso Customs. So in the kit, you'll get a switch like this, a couple of wire harnesses, this longer one with the longer wires for the passenger side. The shorter one is for the driver's side, and the driver's side has a ground connector here that the passenger side does not. And finally, the Meso Customs kit also comes with this this little connector that plugs into the switch and controls both the driver and passenger. So you'll see here that these two switches, like one of them is for the driver, one of them is for the passenger. It looks like the 4-pin connector is for the driver, like so this one plugs in here. And then on the passenger wire, we've got like this 2-pin connector that plugs in here. So let's get this installed. So we're gonna pull this panel off. If you see here, my car has a couple of empty switches, so we'll probably use one of these for the switch. So this kind of protective panel just kind of pulls right up. I'm actually sticking my finger here right next to the steering wheel column, and I'm just pulling until the clips kind of come loose. Okay, so I guess you can't really pull this off completely, but once you get enough clearance, like up here, where you could pop the switch out and put the other one in, I think that's good enough. So let me just do that. Alright, so we got this one off. So now what I'm going to do is take this connector here that comes with the Meso kit. We're just going to plug it right into the back. Looks like it goes in like this. Make sure it clicks in place. That's a good connection. Then we basically just feed it into the opening we just made, like so. Make sure that you could get the wires coming out the bottom. So you see how you could pull the wires down here. Just make sure you have access to it down here. I'm gonna go ahead and fit the switch into this part here. Okay, so the switch is in place. Wires are there. So this connector has to actually go in this side panel down here in order to take this thing off. I believe we have to take this, kind of kick this this plastic trim off as well, so I'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, so when you're taking this panel off for the first time and you don't know where exactly the fasteners are, there's one right here, 2, 3, 4, and then there's these two plugs plug into these two holes right here, and then on the other side you also have these two plug it into these two. So hopefully this will help you figure out where to place pressure when you're pulling, and where exactly to pull to get this thing off. Get this panel off, and there's a little circular clip or bolt or something over there that I believe is holding this thing in place. So don't know exactly how to get it off. I'm gonna try to figure it out, and then once I do get this off, I'll let you know what to do. But all of the wires and stuff is behind this panel here. So after a little bit of research, I just figured out that this little plastic cap is nothing more than like a screw cover, and you could actually just like loosen it with your finger, no tools needed. So it's just a screw. You just turn to the left, and then it'll come off, and then you'll see the screw actually exposed over there. So hopefully now this plastic kick panel should be free to come off. Okay, so to make this job a little bit easier for you guys who have never pulled this off, once you unscrew this little screw head, you're basically going to grab the bottom and then the back and just pull it towards towards the back or towards the driver's seat. And the only thing that will get stuck maybe is there's this little clip here that could get snagged on this little metal bracket over here. So just be careful with it, because this isn't actually, it's just attached to the weather seal stripping over here. You want to be careful over here so you don't actually like rip this thing off. So just wiggle it around. It'll eventually loosen up to pull this off. Okay, so now that this panel is off, we're going to locate the wire, I'm sorry, the white connector, horizontal looking thing, and that's basically got to come off. So once you pull that off like so, we're going to put the one that you just unplugged into the female the Meso Customs wire here. Whoops, wrong way. Like this. Make sure it clicks, and then take the other side of it, the male side, and plug it in. Like this. That clicks. Now the only other thing we've got to worry about is this grounding wire here. So I tried to do a little bit of research to figure out where exactly we need to do this. So on Meso's install guide, they actually say that it's got to it's got to be hooked into this bolt just behind the right here, if you could see it. Where this little bolt is, this is where I'm gonna try to unbolt this and then put the grounding wire there and redo the bolt. So after trying to get that bolt in, I realized that I don't have the right tools to like screw it back in. So and I don't want to risk like ungrounding any of the other connectors. So after some consideration, when I was almost ready to pull that bolt out, I put it back in. I didn't really have enough confidence that I would be able to put it back in because the space is just so tight. So I looked at this one up here. This one actually looks like it's grounded too. So there's a metal bolt connected to a metal bracket, and that's hooked into the actual frame of the vehicle. So this should be sufficient to use this bolt here as a ground instead. So it's a 10mm. It's a 10mm bolt that you want to loosen here. And this is a lot easier to deal with compared to where the other bolt was. Okay, so now that that's in, you basically want to I guess this goes in like this. Bolt this back in place. That should be good. Okay. So in terms of just connections, the driver's side is all done. We're going to work on connecting the passenger side now. Alright, so on the passenger side, we removed the step panel and the little kick panel here, much in the same way. Just gonna put this connector back on here. Same thing as before. Now that the harness is plugged in, what we have to do at this point is take the long wire, pass it under the console to the driver's side where the switch is. So we're going to be taking off this panel right here, and once I do that, I'll come back and let you know how I did it. Okay, to get this little panel off, what you want to do is, if you have a pry tool like this, try to wedge it like right here in between where this crack in the panels is, and then when you pull it off, there's two clips that come off, and then you just pull it forward like that. So we pulled the side panel off on the driver's side as well. Then we ended up pushing the connector through the bottom there, so you may need somebody to help you pull it out from this side as somebody pushes it through on the passenger side. But once the wire's in, right, this is where you would essentially plug it in, which is here. So this part that you fish through down underneath the console will plug into the switch. So it'll go like, goes like this. Nope, the other way. Okay, so that's in. So now the switch has the ability to control both puddle pods. All right, so we just finished plugging in the passenger connector to the switch, and off camera I put all of the kick panels and side panels back in. The only other part that's left is what we want to do in order to, where's that wire? So there's actually this, you might have to come up here to see it, but this, on the switch that we connected to, there's a green wire that's not connected to anything. Okay, this is the wire that is used to illuminate the lettering on the button. So when you turn on your headlights, these buttons will light up much in the same way as the OEM switches. So what we need to do is tap into one of the existing switches and tap into that power, so that our new switch has power as well. So for that, I'm going to use this little, I guess this is a quick splice connector. Picked this up at AutoZone, I believe. I don't know why I got so many of them, but this is a pretty small gauge wire, so I knew that this one goes from gauge 22 all the way to gauge 10, so I think I'm using actually like the smallest one here. So the way that this works is that there's two kind of columns. One of them goes straight through, and then the other one has a little stopper on this side. See how this one's blocked? So you want to put the wire that has power through it, and I have to do this off camera. But basically, you put the wire that has power through this, I guess like this left hole right here, and then put the Meso wire through. Oh, I'm sorry. Put the wire that has the power already, so the existing switch through the right column, and then the Meso one will basically go in here. You basically push it all the way through. It's not going to go through, of course, because this end is blocked, and then you'd have to take some pliers and basically crimp, or I don't know what the right word is, but basically fasten both wires together with this tab, aluminum tab or metal tab. Has to go all the way down in order for you to kind of tap into that connection. So I'll do that off camera, and I'll show you what it looks like before I kind of put everything back together. Okay, so I was finally able to finesse the wires in this little splicing connector tool, and I was careful to only do the green wire, so I actually tapped off of this this one right here, the window de-icer, because it had a green power wire, and then of course I put the Meso custom green wire in there, and I used my pliers to clamp it down and then covered the cover. So I mean, it's broad daylight, but it's hard to see it, but technically this button does now illuminate. I don't know if you can pick this up on camera. It's actually dimmer than like the factory light that you see there, but and for some reason, like the little like the right side of that button isn't lit up. I don't know why, but that's something that I could live with, I think, after trying to do this project for about 2 hours. But that's what it looks like when it's illuminated. And now everything is done. The one other part that I was going to do is sometimes behind this panel you could get moisture or maybe some condensation because of the cold weather or something like that. So Toyota typically puts these insulating tapes around electrical wires here. So I'm actually gonna pick up some cold shrink electrical tape and try to just maybe put it around you know, around here and around the connector to just insulate things a little bit, but that's probably optional at this point. I think we're pretty much done, so just have to reassemble everything and then make sure all of my switches and everything are good to go, and then that should be it.